Last night I finished listening to the book, The Creative Curve, How to Develop the Right Idea at the Right Time by Allen Gannett. Allen Gannett is also the CEO of an analytics agency called TrackMaven. He's also frequently on LinkedIn making videos, so you might be familiar with him. It was a fairly quick listen or read. It was digestible and well referenced, and a core part of it was challenging the notion of the spark of genius, or the eureka moments that many of us think genius comes from, and instead actually looks at the extended periods of study, processing, work, and surroundings that impact creativity. And impact the right people at the right time who actually do something about it. He uses the examples of Paul McCartney writing the song Yesterday and J.K. Rowling coming up with the idea of Harry Potter and writing it all out. And whereas people often have heard these stories as being instant sparks of creativity, really dives into the process and the influences that led them to those moments, and actually after those moments of spark led them through the process of getting to finished processes. There were a couple things in the book that really resonated with me. One of them was the power of consumption. Allen calls it the 20% principle, or maybe he called it the principle of consumption. Either way, I've always said to people that the reason I think I'm really good at understanding sales and marketing is because I spend a lot of time consuming, specifically in the digital realm, right? Digital media, digital content. I spend a lot of time trying to understand that. I consume. I'm a people watcher. I spend a lot of time with a diverse group of people trying to understand them and understand their behaviors and motivations. And I think that consumption of culture and of content and of people is what's made me excel at sales and marketing. Whatever it is, if you're a musician, you've probably listened to a lot of music and consumed it and have a feel for what is great and what is wonderful. If you're anyone, like I've never met a rapper that doesn't love listening to rap, that didn't grow up listening to rap. You get it, right? If you want to create something, you have to have a deep passion and understanding for it. Not just the passion, but to be able to start recognizing the patterns that allow you to know what is going to be successful and what is going to break through to the mainstream. I think one of the other concepts that Allen talks about extensively is the community and the people that you surround yourself with to help you reach your peak of creativity. Again, I'm using creativity here in a way that isn't just necessarily about painting pictures or writing songs. It could also be about business and your approach to business. So the members of the community that Allen speaks to is the master teacher. So this is great, someone to show you the ropes, someone to learn from, help you create the right level of familiarity and get that feedback on how things have been done. I think there's an element of the consumption also that goes into having a relationship with a master teacher. You're watching and consuming their behavior and their actions. There's also the conflicting collaborator. This is someone who helps compensate for your flaws, right? Like matches your weaknesses with their strengths and vice versa, and can also push back on you. Talk about the modern muse. This is often an actual community of other creators, people you surround yourself with who provide inspiration, motivation, and even healthy competition. And then, of course, the prominent promoter, the person or platform that's going to help you take your creativity and boost it to the public and say and co-sign it, right? In hip hop, it's called the co-sign. That fourth one, the idea of the prominent promoter and the need of the cosign, is very important because it also goes to the idea that being creative on your own is not enough. To have true creative genius, you have to master the distribution of whatever it is as well and get it out there and share it with the world. The third thing that really resonated with me in Allen's book was talking about the creative curve and the time when things go from the fringe to the mainstream and then become cliche. And that the best place for someone who's really trying to tap into creativity is to sit right in between those two. So to have the pattern recognition and the understanding based on your learning and your consumption and your surroundings, to be able to look at the underground or the fringe or whatever it might be and see what it is that might potentially be successful. And what your version of that is and how you broker that or guide that concept. Or translate that concept to the mainstream in a way that is familiar enough that they won't be put off to it, but novel enough that they'll be excited by it. And that's also a huge part of the book, is that conversation around the fine balance between familiarity and novelty. All in all, I found it to be an enjoyable book. Wasn't the most academic, but like I said, it was easy to digest. It was thoughtful. Alan's an entertaining guy. I would definitely recommend it as for anyone who's thinking about their own creative process or understanding other people's creative processes. I'm going to share this on Amazon as an actual review. I'm going to write this up and share it, which I've never done before. So that'll be cool. And yeah, thank you, Alan, for writing this book and for sharing it with me and for sharing it with others. A little bit of inspiration that I'm sure all of us can always need. You know, for me, a book like this tapped into ideas and concepts that I've internalized myself and been familiar with, but Alan, you articulated them in new and meaningful ways that allow me to translate them and share them with others and think of them in new ways. So thank you for that. That's it. Have a great night.